Okay, let's give you guys another example of drawing graphs in polar form. So we are trying to sketch this graph here, theta being from 0 to 4 pi. So what that means is we need to increase theta each step of the way here. As we're increasing theta, we will need to keep track of the radius each step of the way. So this here, so we've done 2 pi so far, but because we're doing it from 0 to 4 pi, we've got to go around again once more. So really, it's you going around twice. But then ultimately, we want to sketch this graph. We want to draw this in the XY plane. But as we're increasing theta, we will need to keep track of the radius each step of the way. So in order for us to sketch this, we will need to keep track of the radius. We will need to fill this in first, and then once we've got this, then we can use this to sketch this. So let's try and fill this in now. So theta is increasing each step of the way. But each step of the way, we will need to keep track of the radius. So we will need to fill this in first. So let's try and fill this in. So hang on. So this is our normal course graph. So each step of the way, so we are increasing theta each step of the way, but we need to keep track of the radius. So let's try and keep track of the radius. So when theta is 0, put 0 into here. What will be the radius? Remember, we are trying to keep track of the radius. Put 0 into here, just so that we can keep track of the radius. When you put 0 into here, 0 divided by 2 will be 0. So cos of 0 will be 1. So it will be 1 plus 1. So that will be 2. So when theta is 0, the radius will be 2. So what that means is that when we are here, when theta is 0, the radius will be at 2. Okay, so now let's see what happens when theta is at pi. So what that means is we start here, the radius will be 2. So by the time we get to pi, here, what will be the radius? It turns out the radius will be 1. Okay, because if you put pi into theta here, so that would be cos of pi over 2. So cos of pi over 2 would be right here. So this block here. So when you put pi into here, this whole block here will be 0. So it'd be 1 plus 0, which will be 1. So what that means, so when it's 0, it's 2. When it's pi, it's 1. So what that means is when theta is 0, the radius will be 2. So we are increasing it now. By the time we get to pi, the radius should be 1. So by the time we get to pi, the radius should be right here. The radius is 1. Okay, so something's happening in between. So let's try and figure this out. When it's pi over 2, so this here is pi over 2. So we are increasing it. What would be the radius when we get to pi over 2? Well, what would be the radius when we get to pi over 2? So put this pi over 2 into here. Put this pi over 2 into here, and then if you put pi, so that would be pi over 4. So that would be somewhere up here. Okay, so that would be so when it's pi, it will be 1. When it's pi over 2, it will be, well, halfway. 1.5 will be here. It will be more than halfway. It will be somewhere like this. So now, so when it's when theta is 0, it will be 2. So as we're increasing theta, by the time it gets to pi over 2, the radius is between 2 and, well, it's just below 2, so it would be somewhere around here. It will be somewhere around here, and then by the time we get to pi, which will be here, by the time we get to pi, the radius will be 1. So far, what we know is that it will cross here. Don't forget, 1 will be here. It will be above. It would be more than 1.5. It would be up here somewhere. Okay, so hang on. So it would be somewhere around here, and then by the time it gets to pi, by the time it gets to pi, the radius is 1. So we know it's going to be something like this, from here to here, and then to here. So it seems as if it's doing something like this, and then as it turns out, it will look something like this. As it turns out, because okay, let's continue with this. So if you fill this in, let's see what. But by the time we get to 2 pi, let's see what happens. So we know up to here. Here, the radius will be somewhere around here. So by the time it gets to here, the radius will be 1. Let's see what happens when we get to 2 pi. So 2 pi will be all the way around, remember. So it will be somewhere. So this here will be 2 pi. What will be the radius of 2 pi? So let's put this into here. So 2 pi over 2. So that would be really cos of pi. So cos of pi would be -1. So this thing here would be -1. So 1 plus -1. So when theta is 2 pi, the radius will be 0. The radius will be 0. So you're going around like this. By the time it gets to 2 pi, the radius will be 0, meaning it will be dead on the center. Well, complete this thing here. Well, if you put 4 pi into here, it will, well, 4 pi, put 4 pi into here, 4 pi over 4, over 2, that this thing here will be 2 pi. So this whole block here would be 1. So it would be 1 plus 1, so that would be 2. So this graph here, when it's 4 pi, it will be 2. And as it turns, this here will be 0, this here will be 1, this here will be 1. Halfway in between, it will be somewhere up here. And then halfway in between these two will be quite low down here. And then halfway here will be quite low. Halfway here will be quite high, so up here. So as it turns out, it will give you something like this. So as it turns out, it will give you this. It will give you this. So now we can make use of this to sketch this. So when the radius is 0, sorry, when theta is 0, the radius will be 2. So that will be right here. That will be right here. When it's at pi over 2, so pi over 2 is vertically up like this. It will be quite high up. It will be somewhere around here. By the time it gets to pi, which will be around here, the radius, by the time it gets to pi, the radius should be 1. So it should be here. And then by the time it gets to here, then the radius is quite short. It will be somewhere around here. And then by the time it gets to 2 pi, so remember, by the time it gets to 2 pi, so this here is 2 pi, the radius should be 0. So it'd be right there. So it will look something like this. It will look something like this. It will look something like that. And then now you're going, now you've got to go around. So what we've done so far is this. We've gone round once. What we've done is like this. We've gone round once, meaning we've gone round 2 pi. Now, so we are now here. Now we need to go around again once more. But as we go around again the second time, the radius increases. The radius increases as we go around